So we're recording right now.
We're hot.
We are hot. Camera's hot. Mike's hot.
Yeah.
We're both hot. I've got Jeff Geissler here. This gentleman is a musician and a amazing photographer, photo editor as well, and animal rescuer. So
trying to do as much as I can.
So Jeff, you just came back from a gig in Ohio, I hear. What happened there?
Yes, my new surf rock band. We're called the Boss Stingrays. We played our first gig in Akron, Ohio, at a place called the Tiki Underground. Right now, the COVID restrictions are a little less over in Ohio, so we were able to get this gig. But for some of your listeners who might not really know what surf rock is, it was a genre of music that was very popular in the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s with newer people, newer bands playing it. But it's guitar-driven rock. Most of it does not have any singing. Our band doesn't have a singer. It's very guitar-driven. It's very, you can definitely swing your hips to it. For people who aren't real familiar with it, the example that I often use is the movie Pulp Fiction.
Sure.
Has a lot of surf rock songs in it. Basically, the whole soundtrack is surf rock music.
So the scene where Travolta and Thurman are like doing their little thing.
Yeah.
That's surf rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the most popular surf rock song is a song called Misery Lou by great legendary guitarist Dick Dale.
Dick Dale. I was going to say Dick Dale. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He used to come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. He does the driving guitar at the opening credits. And that is when I fell in love with surf rock. I immediately, as soon as I saw the credits to Pulp Fiction, when I saw it in the theater, 20 years ago or whatever it was, I was like, who was that? I got to hear more about this person. And that's what I heard about Dick Dale.
Well, you're an amazing movie buff as well. So that goes into both. I mean, we talked about movies like, for hours. Yeah, The Ventures, like that was that's 60s though, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely getting into what they would call the classic surf. And we do play several Ventures songs. We play some songs by the Eliminators, which is another from the 60s, the Shantays, the Lively Ones.
What about the Surf Punks? Did you ever play the Surf Punks?
The Surf Punks, no, I've never even heard of them.
You never heard the Surf Punks? Okay, so the early 80s, they had this song called Somebody Ripped My Stick. And that's a surfboard is a stick.
Okay.
Yeah, and it goes on from there. I don't want to get censored, so I don't want to say all that. But there's some rhymes with stick and Mr. Dale's first name. And it's pretty fun.
Okay.
It's really humorous. Yeah.
I'll have to take
punk rock meets surf rock. So I actually have a copy of that. I'll loan you my original copy.
I'll have to check that out.
Since I do not violate any copyright there's no copyright infringement in my
I feel like I should say that the night that I found out that Dick Dale passed away, this is probably about 2 years ago, I was with my buddy Zach, who is another incredible guitarist. And
yeah,
we were at Max's. We found out about this. And you guys only had one song of Dick Dale's on your jukebox.
Well, it's not by choice. That's one of those internet jukebox things where they program, who knows who programs it.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. Now at the Park House, this was pre-internet jukeboxes, but we got the keys to the jukebox. We let the owner, we convinced him that if we had a great jukebox, we would get a lot of customers. So we would put our own music in the jukebox at our own expense. We would buy CDs, and actually back then 45s even.
Oh, wow.
We had a hybrid jukebox that had 10 CDs when you had the cartridge where you would stick the, like in the cars. And then it had 50 singles, 45s. Okay. Yeah. So that was pretty wild.
So, no, I remember those. Yeah. Like the record would roll off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it didn't have that animation, but it was cool. And then of course we had Stediford's right down the street, which was dedicated to the preservation of vinyl.
Yep.
And they're still around, right? They still down there?
Oh no, Stediford's left probably 4 or 5 years ago, but there's a new place there. There's a new vinyl store down there, and it's absolutely wonderful. They actually do some live shows. Well, they did pre-pandemic. It's called the Government. It's called the Government Center.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a super cool place.
So
But
tell me about the name Boss Stingrays. I mean, obviously Stingrays and surf, but like that's a great name. Did you come
Yeah.
up with that?
I did not. Our drummer, who's been playing in a surf rock, Pittsburgh's only surf rock band, or I think for a while. There might be one other one, but anyway, he was in a band called the Turbo Sonics. They've been together since 2004, 2005.
What's your drummer's name?
Oh, his name is Timmy. It was Timmy.
He just goes by Timmy.
Oh, Timmy Clatte.
Well, we want to give him credit, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Super cool guy. Outstanding drummer.
You got to be a good drummer to do surf rock.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of like, I mean, you're carrying it. You're carrying it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to do a beat that makes people do this.
Yep.
Just to get into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you guys don't have a bass, right?
No, I'm the bass player.
Oh, you're the bass.
So what I am is, Timmy's over there shaking shaking it all together. Alan, outstanding guitarist, is out there driving the guitar riffs, which is the melody. The bass player, me, I'm the glue between the two. I'm the one that fills in that empty space in between.
Nice.
With bass and I'm the one that adds a little bit to the drum beat, because bass players, they lock in with the drummer, but occasionally do some riffs that follow what Alan is doing on the guitar. But my main job is to fill that in between space between the drummer and the guitarist.
See,
so
I always heard,
glue, if you will.
I always heard that if you were a bass player, you would always have a gig, because everyone wants to play guitar, right? They all want to be the star, but like bass, there's this old joke about Sting teaching his kid bass. And he's like, well, I'm going to start with the low string first. We'll learn a string a week, So by the time they get to the second week, the kid's got his gig bag and he's heading out the door, and Sting says, what's going on? He's like, I already got a job, Dad. I only know 2 strings, but that's how desperate people are to get like bass players in their band, right?
No, quick story. I grew up playing the guitar when I was in high school and parts of college, and they kind of gave it all up for a while. And then about 15 years ago, when I was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, a guy that I worked with was forming an alt country band. He came up to me and he said, hey, I heard you, I remember you said you used to play the guitar. I'm starting a band, but I really need a bass player. And he's like, do you think you might be interested in that? And I was like, sure, why not? I haven't played the guitar in a while, and I figured I could probably pick up the bass pretty good. So I joined his band. We were the Tennessee Scaregoats.
Nice.
And while gigging with them, I was asked to play in another band called the Rain Dogs. And then I was asked to play in another band whose name I can't remember right now.
Wow. See, so many bands, and you can't even remember the names of all these bands.
Yeah.
That's where it is, kids. If you're a musician out here, or want to be, consider the bass.
People either want to be the person on the front of the stage playing the guitar and singing, or they want to be the crazy guy on the drums in the back. They forget about the guy that's the glue that brings it all together.
Yeah. But so speaking of Santa Fe, you had a job out there when you were in Santa Fe. You met the guy that wrote Game of Thrones. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Well, I worked at the newspaper out there. I was a photographer there.
Yeah.
And we did I shoot that one for the paper, for the I forgot who, maybe it was for Associated Press. Anyway, so I had an assignment to go to his place.
His house.
To get to his house, and it was great. It was his house was basically like it's almost like a museum with like super cool toys, but like a lot of models. So he had like shelves everywhere, and little models and trinkets, all like Lord of the Rings kind of stuff.
So he lived in like a hobbit hole.
Yeah, and he was super cool dude. A hobbit hole, is that what you called it there?
Yeah, a hobbit hole. Yeah.
But he was. It was super cool at the time. I think Game of Thrones was just kind of picking up, and I wasn't real familiar with him. He is now. I still keep in touch with the news in Santa Fe, and he is now very popular. There's a outdoor mall, a market area that has an actual replica of the Game of Thrones that he. That he showed up for the premiere of that. I think he bought a very small independent movie theater there that I used to go to a lot. They used to run a lot of independent films. I think he bought that. He's still very active in the Santa Fe scene.
You know, it's funny. I picked this out, and I guess I must have done it subconsciously, actually. I mean, that sounds weird because everybody's think this was like staged, but it really wasn't. So, you know, Tara and I have pottery studio.
Oh, yeah.
So I made this mug back in 19. What do we say to the god of death?
Oh.
And then the handle is like a question mark.
Yeah.
And the answer is inside the cup.
Nice.
Not today.
All right, so I got to ask. I got
my favorite. I mean, there's so many Game of Thrones quotes, but that was obviously on my mind when I was making it.
Yeah. All right, so I got to have to give a confession here.
Oh,
I tried 3 or 4 times to get into Game of Thrones.
okay.
I could not do it.
Yeah.
I got first season probably up to episode 5.
Okay.
Way too many names, way too
Yeah.
many territories.
Yeah.
I just got way too confused.
Yeah.
But I will say at the last season, everybody raved about this big battle
Yes.
episode and even like some of my friends who were like involved, you know, like the chatter that I read online about special effects and movie making, they went over the top over this battles. This episode was purely battle. I did watch that episode and I was over the top. It was incredible.
Well, you watched one of the best episodes, probably the best episode. In fact, I think I may not be alone in saying this, and I'm sure we'll get comments if you know, but if the Battle of Winterfell had been the final episode, that would have gone down. It was one of the best endings ever to a TV series.
It was
But they
it was
did
an amazing episode. I mean, as a fan, somebody who was not a fan of Game of Thrones to watch that one episode, I was like over the top by it. I think I watched it twice actually.
Yeah.
I think because I watched it the first time while I have huge windows in my apartment, and the first time was like in the daylight.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is something I gotta watch when it's purely dark out.
Yeah. Well, that episode was particularly dark. I mean, like dark in lighting, and you would miss stuff because it was so dark. And we did watch it at night. Like we watched it the night it came out, that Sunday night. And we had the lights off and everything. We were still having problems, like seeing when, you know, like they're sneaking around inside the castle and, you know, the zombies are coming in and, well, not zombies, but, you know, the Game of Thrones. So the White Walkers.
White Walkers, there we go.
So yeah. So
that was super cool.
It was great. And there was one other episode that was a battle episode that was called the Battle of the Bastards. And it was obviously somebody who was interested in history recreated the Battle of Cannae, which is one of my personal favorite like battles of all time. And it was just like, they just kept pushing they had trapped an army and surrounded it on all sides. And they kept pushing it in to the point where they couldn't even wield their swords to defend themselves. And this is taken right from like Polybius and Livy, like in historical accounts, that this happened at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BC, Hannibal fighting the Romans. So it was really neat to see that depicted, you know, with actors, because I'd never seen anything like that. And so there was a lot of brilliance in that, but I agree with you. The first season was very confusing. It was like when you pick up Tolstoy and you start reading War and Peace, and then you realize in the back, there's an index with all the names and stuff because you need it, you know?
Yeah. I need like a guide sheet or something like that. Like a cheat sheet.
I was just going to say, when Dune came out in 1984, that's how old we are.
Yeah.
So when that came out, that was the only movie. I worked at a movie theater at the time. That was the only movie that ever came out. We passed out a vocabulary sheet.
Nice.
No, they wanted us to.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted us to.
I agree.
The film, like, yeah. So like, that's how off the hook David Lynch was. He made a film that was so complicated, you had to read some extra material in order to get the film.
Yeah. No. I love Dune too.
Oh, I love it visually. I thought it was great. Obviously, they ran out of money and they couldn't like make all the great special effects at the end work, but I still love it to this day. I think it's great. I hear they're going to do
By the way, I'm sure you remember.
Hmm?
Oh no, I think they're redoing a movie
Oh,
with the same guy that did the last Star Wars. Oh no, the same. I could be very wrong here. I think the same guy that did the 2049 Blade Runner. I think he's doing it.
The French
I could be
director.
very wrong.
Yeah, the French director that does all the film noir kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could be very, very wrong. Either him or one of the guys that did one of the Star Wars movies. Either way, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you brought up Blade Runner, so like, is that your favorite movie?
It's a tie between Blade Runner and Shawshank Redemption.
Wow, that's quite a pair.
Yeah,
yeah.
Those are two movies. Those are two movies. If I'm flipping around the channels and either of them are on, stop, watch it to the end.
Well, you know, I love Blade Runner, but I have to say, Shawshank is not in my top, like, anything.
Really?
I guess I never gave it a shot, but like, what is it about Shawshank Redemption that you love so much?
It's a you know, it's interesting. I've had some lady friends tell me whenever I tell them that, they say that, you know, it's a guy buddy story. It's a guy love story, but you know, not without the sexual. You know,
I think
it's about guy friends.
A bromance, right?
Romance, maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like Lethal Weapon, but like not as exciting.
Yeah. Not like Lethal Weapon, not Shawshank. No, it's the relationship that is built between Tim Robbins' character and Morgan Freeman's character.
Yeah.
It's just plain beautiful. And can I tell you a quick story real quick?
Please, that's why we're here.
When I was working in New York, I used to photograph a lot of celebrity events, and Morgan Freeman was at one of them. So I went up to him and I said, I was like, Morgan, I got to tell you, you're one of my all-time favorite movies in the world. Shawshank Redemption was a super, you know, very meaningful, very powerful movie to me, and it's something I cherish remembering. And I put my hand out to shake his hand, and he shook my hand. And I said, you know, there's that scene where you're talking about going to see your friend Andy Duchesne down in Mexico, and you have your head out the bus window, and you're talking about being a free man. I started getting choked up. I'm a tall guy, and I'm looking up at Morgan Freeman to tell him this. And he saw me getting choked up, and he took my hand and he like turned it upside down, and he knelt down a little bit to me to get a little bit closer. I was like, I almost lost it. I was choked up, and I was about ready to bawl my eyes out.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a memory I will never forget.
See, I love when celebrities are humans. I love it. I've been watching. Oh shoot, I can't. I'm drawing a blank. The guy that he has a British accent. He's got real long stringy hair. He's a comedian, stand-up comic. Oh my God,
Russell Brand.
Yes, Russell Brand. And he's like,
he's pretty funny.
Very anti like fame now.
Yeah.
But he has this podcast where he talks about like, does fame just make you crazy? And it was really, it's very insightful. But I love it when, because you know, we used to get some celebrities into the bar where I worked, and they're just people, you know. Like as soon as you treat them like people, they're people. But like it's great. It's great though. Some go out of their way though. Like, you know.
Yeah. No. And this is kind of cliche to say, but you know, again, when I was in New York, I met a lot of celebrities, and after a while, I began to realize, and again, this is where the cliche comes in. You realize that they are regular. Most of them are very regular people with really, really cool jobs.
Yeah,
that's all it is. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but I will never. I've never met anybody that was in Blade Runner. I'd love to do that at some point.
Well, you better do it quick because they're leaving this mortal coil. A lot of, you know, it's a shame. Yeah, I remember when Brian James died. I remember a buddy of mine texted me, you know, and he's like, Leon's dead, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's so harsh, you know.
And then Roy died not too long ago.
Yeah,
Rutger Hauer.
Unbelievable. And you know, like the ad libs that he did, like in that, I guess the scene in the elevator where after he kills Tyrell
Yeah.
and JF Sebastian, and like you see him kill Tyrell. Thankfully, they don't show us kill poor JF. I don't know, man. Ridley wasn't that cruel yet. He wasn't into his serial killer movies.
Yeah. No, that would have been too much.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would have been, because it was bad enough. Like the Joe Turkel one, where there's several cuts.
Yeah.
There's one cut where you really see him blinding him, and it's gruesome.
Yeah.
But after that, he's in the elevator, he's going down, and he looks up, and I always remember the scene. The lighting is impeccable.
That's one reason why I love the movie so much.
He looks up and he sees the stars, right? He sees the light on top of the glass elevator.
Yeah.
And he can't see the stars because it's cloudy, but it seems like he's looking up towards the stars. And he's descending, into hell. I mean, he just killed his creator, his God, if you will, and the symbolism. When I was a young man and watched that, the symbolism just was overpowering. It was overpowering. Man's rebellion against God. The robots' rebellion against their creators.
Yeah.
What an analogy.
If you think about it, this is something that always stuck with me a little bit. Is Roy really a bad guy? All he wants to do is live, and the people that are actually killing him because they designed him to die after 4 years, he's going after them. They are killing him. They killed him 4 years ago. And Roy just wants to live, and he wants to help his fellow friends live. So is Roy actually a bad guy? So that's where
a lot of confusion. I mean, and that's the great thing is you feel sympathy.
Yeah.
For the other, So and I identified more with Roy when I watched that movie than I identified with Deckard, because Deckard is literally cold fish. He calls himself, he says in the one that has the narration, he says, "My wife used to call me sushi, cold fish," and people say that's a terrible narration. And Harrison Ford hated it apparently too. But there's a lot of insight in that narration that you don't get. But the other movie is so visual. It's so visual. Yeah. And Vangelis's soundtrack just comes waves of it. And I have to say, one of the things about 2049 that I really liked was Hans Zimmer. He caught that theme.
Yeah.
He crushed it. Like nobody could have done a better job.
Yeah. No, I can't say that I was equal love as the original Blade Runner, but 2049, no, I was over the top about that. That's another movie. If I'm flipping the channels and it's on, I'm definitely going to stop. I thought it was, again, beautifully shot. I got to tell you though, anytime, this has been going on most of my life since I see Blade Runner. Anytime we see a fan that's silhouetted,
yes.
Like, for example, a fan that's like an window or something, yes. I instantly go to Blade Runner.
Yeah, it's slowly turning.
And it's backlit.
That's been done so many times now. They did it in The Mandalorian. They did it in, it's just, it's an homage to that because Ridley was a genius. Even in The Duelists, before that, like he played with lighting and he played with animals and, and you were talking about Roy being a good guy. At the end, when he does that speech, Tears in the Rain, on the rooftop, he's literally holding a dove and he releases it as he dies. So, I mean, you want to talk about Christ imagery, he jams a nail through his palm in order to stimulate himself to get more life to do what he has to do, during that whole fight scene, just, incredible, really incredible.
No, I'm over the top over that movie. It's, it's like, the scene where the dove all of a sudden flies away. That's another one that gets you right there. So.
That speech is it's amazing. Like, I know we're guys and, we're not supposed to, well, I don't know now. I don't know. But when we were growing up, at least for me, you didn't show a lot of emotion. You showed excitement. You showed positive emotions, but you rarely cried. That movie chokes me up all the time. And if I, the delivery of that was it seemed so heartfelt, And he's trying to explain, and that's the whole thing. So you have to decide, is Deckard a replicant or is he not? Does he get it? Does he understand? And it can go either way, because at one point, and I remember, like, when Deckard falls off the side of the building and he grabs his arm, right?
Yeah.
His wrist, and he pulls him up by the wrist. He says something. And I remember having the VHS tape and like pausing it to try to find out what he says. And I think I saw it on TV one time, and there was a closed caption and it said kinship.
I did not know about this. No.
All things to say, kinship. So,
because he's a replicant too?
I mean, that's one way to interpret it, right?
Here's the thing. In 2049, I got the feeling that after watching 2049, I got the feeling that he wasn't a replicant.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's very confusing. But his eyes did glow red.
Yes.
Blade Runner.
Yes.
First one. But
yes.
2049, I got the feeling that he was not a replicant. He obviously lived a lot longer. He didn't have that death clock going on inside of him.
Right.
So,
well, Rachel was supposed to be special too. She apparently didn't have a death clock, so
But she had a baby though.
A miracle baby, right?
Yeah. So,
hybrid between human and machine.
Yeah, there's something going on in there. So.
I need to watch 2049 about 40 more times in order to catch up with my knowledge of Blade Runner, the original.
It is no. I was to be honest with you, I was a little bit nervous. Making a sequel, one of my favorite movies, you're always a little bit nervous. I was extremely happy. Like I said, one of my biggest disappointments in my entire life was, I grew up during the Star Wars time, and the first three, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi, loved. 15 years later, Phantom Menace came out. I went to see that movie. And no offense to anybody who loves the Phantom Menace, but I depressed, horrified. I can't stand Jar Jar Binks. I would say that was one of my most depressing days of my life, the Phantom Menace.
So that's funny you mentioned that. I grew up Star Wars. So I still live Star Wars. Like you can see, there's lightsabers behind me and everything. But and you do like really impressive animations on and you post them on Facebook of like local scenes, but like walkers going down the street and like snow speeders flying over, and that's amazing what you can do with that. That's awesome.
Oh no, to be honest, what happened was, during this lockdown, I knew that I had to, get some hobbies going to keep my mind active whenever I'm not at work, because Max's wasn't open, or a lot of my favorite places to hang out weren't open, wasn't going to parties. So I realized I had to do, pick up some hobbies, and gradually I just started, I started doing what I call digital artwork, and then I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do some green screen technology? And I found this kid, I think he's from Venezuela, he gave these free green screens of all Star Wars stuff.
Nice.
For anybody who's not familiar with green screen, you see it all the time, you just don't know it. But it's animation that you can put over top of video, and you can knock out the green into it. So it is just purely that object that is walking. I don't know. I hope I didn't confuse anybody too much there.
No, people use it on Zoom for backgrounds, virtual.
Oh, backgrounds. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's the same as your Zoom background there. Same technology. Chroma keying is what the technical term is. So I learned how to do that. And so what I do is I've been taking photos here in my neighborhood, just still photos, but I have to cut them up in layers, foreground, middle ground, background. And I put the animation in between them to make it look like there were battle Star Wars scenes right here in my neighborhood.
That's so awesome.
Wait till you see the one that comes out on May the 4th.
Oh,
this is going to be my
surprise for us.
This is going to be my creme de la creme, my crowning achievement here. I'm going all in.
Oh, I can't wait. That sounds awesome.
But I can't remember. I think somebody said it at some point that boredom pushes creativity or something like that.
I don't know who said it, but it's probably true. I mean, there are so many things this lockdown. I know like people died. I mean, friends of mine died, and like, and it's been absolutely horrible. But even at the beginning of this, I knew there were going to be artists that were going to make amazing art because they finally had the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any excuses, because we do that as artists. We make excuses. Well, I got to go to work. Well, I'll do it Saturday. Well, I'll do, and there was time, and it was like, I don't know. I think it was great.
Yeah. For me,
For
it
a
was
lot of people, in a lot of ways.
It was, for me, it was a way to escape. I'm not going to lie. It was for me to escape the anxiety and depression of being alone, not be able to go out, not to be able to go places. So I was like, I figured, I was like, oh my God, this thing is going to last for a while. I got to dig myself deep into some kind of a craft, some kind of a project. I started playing the guitar a lot more.
Yeah.
Just doing these goofy Star Wars animations, doing some digital artwork with various stuff. I realized that if, I got to do this to you got to keep the brain occupied at times,
Yeah, definitely. Well, I took a deep dive into Star Wars. I got the Disney Plus thing, and I went real deep. And so I did actually, the Phantom Menace, though, when that came out, the night that came out, right? 4 a.m, went to see this. We went somewhere. I watched that movie. I was confused. I'm like, it sounds like Star Wars. It looks like Star Wars. Why are they talking about trade federations and negotiations and embargoes and boycott? I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
What happened to my Star Wars? but then the pod race was pretty good.
Okay, the pod race was good. I did like that. That was the only redeemable quality, in my opinion.
The sword fight with the Saber staff with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. That's pretty good. And the music was amazing. I mean, the Duel of the Fates, I can listen to that over and over again. Like, that's John Williams,
Well, John Williams is fantastic. Just fantastic. But Patrick, you got me on this one because I've only seen it once. So.
Well, it's not my go-to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's always at the bottom of everybody's list. Although now with the sequel trilogies, there are some people who really hate those. I don't have a hate. For Star Wars, I don't think anything was going to be enough after 14 years. No matter what George did, it wasn't going to be enough for me because I had played so many scenarios in my head with that universe in the meantime that there was no way anybody was going to fulfill it,
Yeah.
But the sequel trilogies, I don't know. There's people that talk about erasing them and doing them over, like erase them from canon and just making them like a pipe dream of some kind and then starting over. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
I could be, part of it, Patrick, you and I are close to the same age here. There's no doubt about it. There is an element of like the first Star Wars movie, The New Hope. I saw when I was 6 or 7 years old, blew me out of the water. All my friends blew them out of the water. We all got the action figures. We all got the cards, all that kind of stuff. It was a huge part of my childhood. Huge, huge part. Yeah, see? Look at that. Exactly. Nice. That brings back memories, man.
And I think there's an action figure around here or something. I don't know. That's okay. We can do my toy collection some other time. But yeah, I agree. It hit us just at the right time.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I was like 12, maybe 11. Yeah, 12. And like, it was really the right time because now I was like consciously aware of it, and could go to the theater multiple times to see it. And, just, I was obsessed with Empire.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's, I'll be honest. I think Empire might be my favorite one.
Oh, it's definitely my favorite.
Religious.
I think I'd say 90% of Star Wars fans, like, it's their favorite one.
Yeah. I love the battle scene at Hoth. I thought that was just an incredibly shot, the walkers and everything, and I absolutely love that. And then obviously the meeting Yoda, and the over the top about it's I could talk Star Wars forever.
Well, yeah, I could talk Star Wars all day long.
We
The,
should.
the Battle of Hoth, though, like I remember going to the theater and sitting in the front row because I just wanted to be in the front row for that one scene where they're looking for Luke and Han in the snow, and the speeders are coming out in the morning, and they go over those cliffs, and they go down, and then they go over another one, they go down, and I just wanted to feel the butterflies of like having it so that it was in my full vision,
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I do remember feeling really bad about the Tauntaun that got ripped open, so Luke can go inside and get warm. I remember feeling bad. I'm an animal lover, so I felt bad about the poor Tauntaun. It all came running out there. And,
that was all a setup for Han's line,
Ooh, they smell. They smell
worse. They smell bad on the outside.
That's it. Yeah, I goofed that line up there.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Did he clean out the guts and put them in the hide, or did he just shove them in the guts?
I think he just shoved them in there.
Oh gosh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, it was like, you just kind of poured on it. He even made that squishy sound when it came out.
And this was before we realized that like you had to be a Force user to use a lightsaber. So that's a retroactive clue that Han had some level of the Force in him, which we find out later in The Force Awakens when he like guns down that stormtrooper without looking, But
Patrick,
that's
illuminated me.
That's deep.
I didn't know. I never thought about that. Holy poop, Patrick! That was
well. I told you I was in quarantine for a year with the Disney Channel, so like I could. I watched Star Wars so many times. Hey,
actually, speaking of the Disney Channel,
go ahead.
Oh no, I don't have Disney Plus, but the people, my friends upstairs do. My friend Frank, I don't know if you know Frank. He's been to the bar before, but he has two younger kids, and so we watched The Mandalorian together.
Nice.
Love that. I cannot wait for the next season.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away for any viewers there, but the very last episode.
I think we're long enough that anybody that hasn't seen the spoiler yet, I'm sorry. There's a spoiler coming. Go ahead.
No. Whenever Luke Skywalker came in there. I remember there was like 5 or 6 of us watching that episode, and we all screamed.
So here's my question. At what point did you know it was Luke?
Not until I saw his face.
So you didn't know. When the one X-Wing comes in. You didn't know that. Okay. So the resolution's not good enough on the X-Wing to know, because Luke's X-Wing has 5 red pips, like on the back of the wing, because he was red 5, right? But the resolution's not good enough to know that. So there's no way you could actually know that. You might suspect it because it's an X-Wing. But what about when the lightsaber flares up and it's green? Does that give you a clue?
I might have to watch the episode again.
And then if you're gonna rewatch it, at one point he's got a gloved hand and a non-gloved hand, right? So he's got the saber in his gloved hand, and then he uses the Force to like push away one of the robots with his bare hand. And I was like, that's got to be Luke. That's got to be Luke. And then they showed the hilt, and then it was unmistakable because nobody has a hilt like that. Like,
all right, I'm gonna have to rewatch the episode. I do think I have a subscription through my Spotify. Either way, I gotta rewatch the episode now that you said that. What we did is we have a social area upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So we socially distanced, and like 5 or 6 of us watched it on the big screen upstairs. So it definitely sounds like I missed some details there.
Well, I mean, I've only watched that scene like about, 20 times. So.
Now you're gonna make me watch it.
I dissected it, you know, I can't help it. I wish I were a filmmaker, but I admire
You
great.
can be.
Yeah, well,
You're a
I mean,
filmmaker. I've watched your videos on Pittsburgh Pat.
I do
Filmmaker?
make, yeah, that's not filmmaking, but you know what I mean. But actually I did a nice little mashup. See, I got the Johnson and Johnson vaccine.
Oh, the
So
one and done
it
thing?
was
Yeah, the one and done, but now
made in Maryland by a different company by contract, and they had to scrap it, right? Because somebody mixed the wrong ingredients, right?
I
So
heard
I'm
about that.
watching CNBC, right? And one of the commentators talks about Johnson and Johnson and the stock going down or whatever. He said, you know, because Johnson Johnson's had other troubles like the Bad Batch, and then I took the preview to the new Star Wars series, The Bad Batch, and I spliced those together. So that's on the channel. I'm very proud of that. I posted that around a couple places, and nobody was. That's the problem. My sense of humor is sometimes like, but I said basically, I said, since I got the Bad Batch, does that mean like I'm gonna turn into a Star Wars character? Because that'd be awesome, you know? Like,
Yeah, that'd be
These-
cool.
the Bad
I'll
Batch
watch that.
are a bunch of really kick butt clones that's what they call themselves, because they're not like the other clones in the clone army. They're like well, the lead one looks like Charlie Sheen from Hot Shots Part 2. It's totally intentional and it's hilarious. So that's coming out. That new series is coming out on May the 4th, actually, on Disney.
Oh, okay.
So you can
Well, what are
watch
you gonna
that with your friends.
What are you going to do on May the 4th? Is that you're going to be releasing that?
Yeah, I'll be watching that for sure. I'll probably post a couple things on my Star Wars channel and Pittsburgh Pat as well.
Okay.
And
I
then,
definitely have to catch up on more Pittsburgh Pat stuff.
I'm hoping. Thank you. And I have a whole channel that's just devoted to Star Wars stuff, and I have another one that's just devoted to lightsabers. And I'm hoping to get a lightsaber by May the 4th so that I can do an unveiling, but I can't decide which one. I want.
Nice.
So
Yeah. You got the sound effects I sent you, didn't you?
yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you said you've been having trouble editing, but that makes a difference there.
Well, the sound effects that you hear on the video actually emanate from the hilt of that blade. Like it's, well, I could show you, but that's okay.
Oh, no. I heard it slightly, whatever, the first video that you sent me. You need to pump the volume up on that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I did another one where I was doing a lightsaber flow, like, you know, with routine. And I did it to Shostakovich Symphony No. 8, third movement, which, if you know, that's like super bombastic.
Yeah.
And
I love
it got a copyright strike, so I can't.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that classical music was like exempt for that, but somebody must own the rights to that. So
Yeah. Oh, bummer.
yeah. it is a
Yeah, I
bummer.
think if the music was made before 1918, it's supposed to be good, but then symphonies themselves have copyright stuff if they made that version of it.
I guess I don't know. I mean, it's not 19. Yeah, this was definitely composed after 1918. Shostakovich. This was one of the wartime symphonies, so he composed it during World War II.
Oh, okay. So you know what? You're past that can be copyrighted.
That's probably why. Yeah.
Yeah. Most classical music. I forgot when the cutoff was.
I think
Early
you're right.
19th.
It's 75 years, right?
I think it's easily 75 years.
I
Yeah.
thought it was 75, but there may be exceptions to that as well. So.
Yeah. Oh, for some reason the number 1918 is coming in my head. So,
I don't know. Yeah.
but World War II would definitely be copyright.
Yeah, under that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But then there's weird things like that aren't copyrighted, like Frank Capra's "Why We Fight." That's public domain.
Yeah.
So there's all these great like animations and stuff that you can use from like, you know, like an octopus, like, you know, the Japanese Empire on the map of the Pacific, like is portrayed as a giant octopus that's reaching its tentacles over all the islands and stuff. Or
Yeah.
like the way that like when they're taking over and Europe is being conquered, like this kind of black, like, like goes over top of the
Oh yeah, like
map.
all yeah.
Yeah. It's really, that's neat animations. I don't know who
No,
did
he must have made it so it's public domain. Didn't Einstein make all of his images public domain?
Yeah, pretty sure that's why you can, get any of those that you
Yeah.
want. Mhm.
There's certain people that make everything public domain.
Why not? I would do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it right now. All my Star Wars videos and goofy artwork, public domain.
Wow, that's huge.
Oh, it just makes me have it's huge. It's just goofy stuff to make me to keep me sane during these insane times. Yeah.
But then I was able to immerse myself into YouTube and getting into the community, Zoom, thank goodness for Zoom.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I reached out to you at one point during the pandemic.
I remember that. It's no, I've had my, I'm not gonna lie, I've had my struggles, but that's, I just gotta, keep, I'm a lonely guy, I'm single, live in an apartment with, I live in an apartment with two wonderful cats, and I do have a really good support system here in my building.
Do you
wonderful friends, but
I
just had to keep, the brain goes crazy and stuff.
Do you know who Eckhart Tolle is?
What's that?
Do you know who Eckhart Tolle is?
It sounds very familiar.
He's a Canadian. A lot of people say he's like a Buddha consciousness. He's enlightened. He talks about spiritual matters. Anyway, he said, I have lived with 5 Zen masters, and they were all cats.
I like the guy.
You'd like Eckhart, man. He's real quirky and very deep.
Yeah. Oh, no. I currently live with 2 Zen masters. So
that's awesome.
No. They're my little buddies. They've been keeping me. I don't know what I'll be doing without those 2.
I think a lot of people adopted pets during this, don't you?
Oh, they did. My sister started fostering puppies. Because she has two kids, and so they needed a project to do during this. So they got hooked up with an animal welfare organization, and they foster the puppy. But wait till the puppy's available to be adopted. So she'd have puppies for she'd keep them probably about a month. So she fostered several puppies.
That's sweet.
So, yeah. Oh, no, a lot of
friends in the family, because you worked at Animal Friends for
I worked at Animal Friends 4 or 5 years there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the dog stopped for a while too.
Yeah. I love the little doggies. I love the little kitties. I definitely I got it from my mom. I got a soft spot for animals. Definitely something I inherited from my mom, who's a huge animal lover. We had all kinds of pets while growing up.
That's cool.
There's something about cats, dogs, and bunnies that I can relate to a lot. Me too. We have that garden up there.
Yes.
Yeah, I shot a Facebook Live video for the we shot it for the Carnegie Science Center.
Very cool.
Yeah. It was about lettuce, growing lettuce in our garden.
There's a lot of cool architecture where you are too. If you just look up, there's all kinds of gingerbread in your neighborhood. It's just so neat, like the crenellations and the ornamentation, unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I love my neighborhood. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's getting better all the time.
Yeah, even on East Ohio Street, just looking at the top of the buildings there, houses that were built in like late 1800s, 1900s, or buildings, I should say.
Yeah,
it was beautiful there. So,
yeah, well, that was Millionaires Row, right? I mean, that was Allegheny City was the rich suburbs of Pittsburgh, right? That's where all the industrial magnates lived. And away from the smoky city, and that's where they lived. So very affluent.
It's a cool neighborhood.
Did I ever tell you? I did a historical research project on Allegheny City when I was in high school, and my friends and I found this political cartoon, and it was when they were going to vote on the merger of Allegheny City and Pittsburgh in 1907. Right, is when they merged. So the cartoon depicts Pittsburgh as very brutish, hulking groom who is dragging a very, very reluctant small bride, Allegheny City, to the altar. You know,
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was clever. I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Mhm.
Cool stuff. There's a lot of history over here. A lot of history.
There is a lot. There's a lot. All right, Jeff. Well, I don't know. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about in this session, or?
No, we covered a lot of interesting stuff there. There were a lot of fun stuff there, didn't we?
Well, stuff that I like. I hope the audience liked it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's good stuff. And
If you're interested in my surf rock band, we do have a few gigs coming up here.
announce them. Yeah.
We're on Facebook at the Boss Stingrays. So just search the Boss Stingrays. We have some videos up there. We recently posted a video. We're starting to do more original music. We're going to be working on original music tomorrow.
Cool.
Right now, we mostly play in cover tunes. But yeah, check out the Boss Stingrays. Yeah, we have a few gigs coming up there. We recently applied to be at the Millville Music Festival,
Oh,
which
that's
we
big.
really hope is going to be going on.
That's
It's not going to
big.
be happening until August, but we really, really hope that live music is going to start picking up a little bit.
Me too.
Obviously, responsible restrictions will be taking place. But that's in August. Who knows where life is going to be? Hopefully, life is going to be getting pretty normal back in August. So yeah, Patrick, this is so much fun. So much
Yeah,
fun.
Jeff,
Covered a
thank you.
Variety of music, big variety of stuff there.
Well,
definitely
you're
wanna- I
an
definitely wanna talk
eclectic
about-
man, you know? I mean,
Oh, I definitely want to talk about your Star Wars toys.
Oh,
At
yeah.
some point.
yeah, we'll have to do that someday. All right,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Well,
Well,
I'm
thanks for
gonna stop the recording now, but just you can hang on and we'll catch up. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. Smash like for me. That helps me huge. And have a great day. See if you can help somebody without getting caught.